Good morning. This is Trang Bo at the California ISO. Thank you for joining us for the Release User Group on January 7, 2025. This call and webinar will be recorded and published for a limited time for your convenience. Okay, Happy New Year. We'll go ahead and get started. All right, so our last Release User Group meeting was on Thursday, December 19. That presentation as well as the recording have been published for your reference, so we'll pick up from there, and the Release User Group will resume its normal schedule every other Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time starting today. So those, this meeting and the next meeting are on the calendar, and you should see the rest of the instances soon. All right. So for 2025, we still have several independent releases, and then we have our spring 2026 release and then future releases. So for independent releases, they are listed in order of known target production dates right now. So we have highest emergency rating, that's tentative for January, hybrid resources phase 2C for RIMS for February, and then CRR upgrade for March, CPM enhancements track 1 for April, and then TEA for May. And then for 881, track 2 for June, and then also the activation of track 1 as well. And then there are a couple other independent releases that we don't have defined schedules yet for 2025, but they are in the queue. We have the enabling NGRs to participate in inter-SC trades, and then the remaining WEAM enhancements of the set of the Fab 5 that we introduced last year. For spring 2026, we have DAME, EDAM ISO BAA participation rules, as well as EDAM onboarding, and then WEAM onboarding. For future releases, we have subscriber PTO model, and then the settlement upgrade project. All right. So I'll go ahead and move on with the reminder of the BRS comments that are open. We have 3 BRS comment periods that are open right now. We have WEIM enhancements for the BRS version 1.1, and that is for that remaining enhancement that we'll cover later on in the presentation. That's open through the 16th. And then we have the EDAM ISO BA participation rules, version 1.3, that is open through the 24th, and then the DAME BRS 1.4, that's open through the 24th. So I want to note that for EDAM ISO BA participation rules, BRS version 1.3, we do have that queued up for the next release user group on Tuesday, January 21st, for our team to walk through a summary of those changes. And then for the DAME BRS version 1.4, we do have our team on to go through the summary of those changes. And upcoming, we do have a BRS revision for EDAM 1.4 that's in the queue. No target date right now, but that is on the way. And then we will announce when that is ready and open up an associated comment period for that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move on because those ones that I've covered are have separate slides in the presentation, and then I'll stop at each one of those for any questions or comments. All right, so for independent releases, we'll start with highest emergency rating. This is the first in the queue for this year. For the market simulation, that's shifted to start target mid to late January at this time. So just as a reminder, as I communicated yesterday in the market sim call, the OMS changes for HER are available in the map stage environment. We just haven't confirmed or certified the readiness yet for the integrated functionality. So we'll work through that, and once we have that confirmed, then we will make an announcement for the official start of market simulation, but that should not prevent you from getting your hands on the OMS UI and API changes for this project in the map stage environment now. Okay, for production, we have an activation targeted January 21st. The code is deployed in production in an inactive state right now, and the activation is targeted for January 21st and may shift depending on that starting the fully integrated market sim for this effort. Any questions or comments for HER? Okay. Moving on to hybrid resources 2C for RIMS, not a lot to report here, but you should expect to receive more detailed information from us about the shapefile requirements coming up in future release user group and technical user group forums. And then for the production activation, that is targeted for February, and we're evaluating the schedule right now. And what you also don't see on here is a line for market simulation. So the BRS does identify market simulation business requirements. We're working through how those will manifest themselves in the map stage environment and what that market simulation will look like, or that engagement prior to market sim. So I'm sorry, prior to production. So either way, more clarity to be provided about the market simulation requirements and what that translates into for market simulation. So I'll add a placeholder line for that, and then there may also be adjustments to the schedule right now. We are picking up the review of this project now that the new year has begun, and look to be able to provide you more information soon about when to get more shapefile information, as well as what the market simulation will look like and when that will be. Any questions or comments on hybrid 2C for RIMS? All right, moving on to CRR. So for CRR, we also in December had our last customer partnership group on CRR. That was the 19th, so the materials and recording are there. And so there are no changes to this. So we had that CPG the same day as the RUG, so we went over the same update, and the schedule stands where the connectivity is planned to start for the UI January 21st, as well as a subset of the API. And then we'll release all of the APIs by January 23rd. And then we'll have market simulation starting February 4th. And then you may have heard from Martin yesterday, of course, again, that we will have separate calls for the CRR market simulation. He's published the schedule for that. So when we those kick off in February in alignment with the structured market simulation for CRR. And then for production, the cutover is shifted from February to March. So we also did communicate that earlier. No changes to this, but obviously for those that are engaged, we do encourage you to continue to participate in the CRR CPG. The next one is on Thursday, January 16th. And just for that day only, it is at 1 p.m. Pacific, and then it'll shift back to the regular schedule after that. All right, and any questions or comments on CRR? Okay. TEA, so we'll go to the milestones here. Market simulation is targeted for April, specifically for WAPA and then its partners, but of course that'll happen in the map stage environment, and anybody's welcome to observe there. And then for production, our activation is targeted for May, and that'll depend upon the start of market simulation and the outcome of that. So any questions or comments on TEA? Okay. Moving on to FERC 881. So this covers tracks 1, 2, and 3, and we do have several slides here that we've already been through, but we'll provide some reminders. Okay. So first, looking at the milestones, you can see the draft tariff filing. It was targeted specifically for January 17th, but we just broadened that up to be mid-January of 2025 right now. So we do have an internal draft and review that's in progress ahead of that filing. So we're on track for mid-January to file that. And we did cover that in a call in December. I believe it was the 16th. So those that want to refer back to the discussion, the stakeholder discussion on the tariff language can refer back to that December call materials and recording. Okay, and then of course we have a placeholder for the FERC acceptance of our filing, and then for BRSs, our last version was the introduction of the Track 2 changes, and that was published in November. And then we do have updates to the Track 2 scope that's planned to go out once we have the, and that will be aligning with that draft tariff language filing. So once we do make that filing and have that finalized, then we will also align the BRS for Track 2 with that latest language. For market simulation, the WebLine-R, as we communicated yesterday, in the map stage environment, the UI is available now to start that connectivity. And I'll provide another reminder here is that that is a new application with new roles. So please work with your UAA to provision your access to WebLine-R in map stage to start familiarizing yourself with the user interface. And then for production, just a recap of the different tracks and then their target dates. So for Track 2, we have WebLine-R that's planned to be made available by June of this year, and then the other Scope 2. And then for Track 3, we'll have phased implementation January through July, and we have more details in the other slides here that will give you more of an idea of those three different streams. Okay, so no changes to this. And then for the timeline, this was updated and as of yesterday. So I'd like to call out here again that the tariff filing is now mid-January instead of specifically the 17th. And then that'll also result in then a BRS revision to align with that latest tariff language. And then of course, starting December 31st, the map stage WebLine-R UI is available for connectivity and testing as well. Okay, so I see a couple hands up, and I will be happy to take those now. So we'll start with Brian. Please unmute your line and go ahead.
I might have missed it, and maybe it's not available. You had said for WebLiner that the UI was in map stage just to at least be able to see it and interact with it visually. I don't actually see that. Does the UAA need to provision access before I can actually see it in the application?
Yes.
From map stage? Okay.
Yes. So the WebLiner UI is available, and we've confirmed that the access from outside the ISO works. So external access, as far as the network side, works, but this does use your certificate provisioning. So just work with your UAA to do that, and then once that's provisioned, then you should be able to access. And if you have any other questions or issues with accessing the UI, then let us know. The API will follow a separate schedule, and so we'll announce when that will be made available, but hopefully that helps, Brian. Okay, all right. And I put a note to check in with you afterwards just to make sure that you're able to access that, okay? We'll also be reaching out to some of the other customers as well. Okay, Alva, please unmute your line and go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Trang. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. The Track 3, I missed that there had been a discussion and specification of what's going to happen in Track 3. Can you go back again so I can see what the link is so we can review that?
Of course. All right. So there's also another slide that I hadn't gone to yet that also lists more information about Track 3. But here we have the market applications and look-ahead applications. And again, we're proposing that delayed phased-in implementation. And we did cover that in that call on December 16th. So that's available on the stakeholder page too. And we have a comment period open. I don't actually, that might have closed by now. And then we, as part of that filing, we will seek an extension. Okay, and then I'm going to go to another slide, Alva, that for you and for others that also outline that. Okay. All right. Actually, I think I have one more. So this is the phased-in implementation here also. And again, it's a lot of similar information that's broken out, but you can see the different pieces here as well. And did you have any immediate questions, Alva, or could we move on? Yeah.
interested in which of these are visible to market participants as opposed to the transmission operators.
Oh, okay. So that's a good question, and I don't know that I have that information. So, but I know that the project team is on the line, and so let's see. Let me see if they're here. Okay. So, Rob, I am going to open that up to you for just a moment and see if you have any immediate response as far as which of these are visible to the transmission owners only versus the other participants. So can you unmute and just advise if you have any feedback? And if not, we'll be happy to take that back to the team.
Yeah, let's kind of take that back to the team. So actually, when the BRS that's actually out there that's published for the external, it actually includes a very nice chart that actually breaks down the access and what's viewable from each one of them, what they can do. So that's really more of an access permissions part of it and what they'll be able to see and access for that piece. So that's probably a good start. I can actually go back to the business system owner too and see if they can provide maybe a little more detail that you're looking for.
Okay,
Great.
so
And I was wondering whether anything was going to be published on Oasis or anything like that. So it sounds like we'd be needing to actually go into this system to get the look ahead. Is that my understanding? Market participants would go into the system to get a look ahead on the transmission. Okay.
Yeah, would be exclusively for the WebLiner. Correct.
Yeah, and Martin had something to add too. So before he shifted, he was the analyst for this. So Martin, did you want to elaborate on that, please?
No, I was just confirming that that's the correct understanding.
Okay. All right. So.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Alva and Rob and Martin. Okay. So we'll be sharing some more information about that as it relates to the specific customers and what's available to everyone. And then just, again, the confirmation is that the WebLiner will be the tool utilized to view the look-ahead results. Any other questions or comments on this? Okay. All right, so our last couple independent efforts don't have schedules associated. So we have the NGRs participating in physical trades. So again, just because we're starting a new year, I just want to put another reminder out here that this effort, as it notes on the bottom of this, is separate from the Inter-SC Trades and Regional Markets Policy Initiative. So this is a change that will kind of track independently outside of that other stakeholder initiative. And we do have some cyber rules drafted for this, and we're working on providing a schedule, and then we'll offer this in market simulation as well. But this is just being worked and scheduled between the other efforts right now. So, any questions or comments on this? Okay. All right, and then for WEIM enhancements, so we have just highlighted here the remaining item in the current version of the BRS. So the dynamic ETSR limits for safety net is the remaining item in the BRS. And just as a reminder, item 2 here for hourly base ETSR, that is not in the current version of the BRS. It's going to be pursued as a standalone project. So the last note on the bottom, as I mentioned earlier, version 1.1 of this BRS is available, and the comment period is open through January 16. And this version 1.1 had updates to modify the existing BRQ 040 and then add 041 and 042. All three of those are related to the dynamic ETSR limits safety net. Okay. And then the next slide goes into a little bit more information about that enhancement. And then again, just a reminder about the BRS. So please take a look at that. And then we do plan to offer that for simulation 2. We'll have additional simulation information in the next iteration of the BRS, but at least for the business requirements, you can review those now and start getting an idea of any testing engagement that you plan for this. Right? Any questions or comments? Okay. So on to our spring 2026 release. So the timeline, I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but we did go over this, and so anybody who wants to refer back to my walkthrough can do so in the last RUG recording. And I just wanted to take a moment just to clarify one of the questions that received about the market simulation and data set up for DAME and EDAM and EDAM ISO/BA participation rules and the MapStage environment. So it was about the expectation for customers submitting bids for that market simulation, and I wanted to let you know that I did confirm with the project team that the bid seeding that we currently do today, where the ISO submits bids and then the customer is able to either leave those as is or overwrite them for day ahead and real time, that will be extended to include data for the new products. So we'll continue to seed bids, and then when the new products are available in MapStage, the ISO will continue to seed bids even for the new products, so that you have the ability to just let those run through in the MapStage environment, or you have the ability to overwrite them. So in our market simulation plan and scenarios, when we, prior to starting DAME and EDAM ISO BAA market simulation, will we'll provide clarity again on the data setup and the timings of our bid seeding, so that everybody's aware of when to submit bids to leverage the current data conditions and the new functionality. Okay. All right, so just on the timeline overall, does anybody have questions for the merge timeline? Because we will go over each of the projects individually. All right, good. So let's go on to first a reminder about training. So no updates to the slide, but we do have a comprehensive training plan for EDAM and DAME, including train the trainer sessions too. Okay, all right. So on to day ahead market enhancements. So we'll cover the milestones first. So version 1.4 of the BRS is available as of December 23rd, with the comments open until January 24. And then just going down, I wanted to also draw your attention to the configurable parameters. So we had the meeting on December 11, and we had the comments period open a little later than we expected. So we did extend the comment period for the implementation working group through January 10, so through the end of this week. So please take an opportunity to provide any comments on that meeting. The presentation and the recording are available on the stakeholder initiative page. And then also I added the implementation working group kickoff for those configurable parameters. So that is set for August 2025. And then we'll have monthly implementation working groups for the configurable parameters from that point through the market sim and parallel ops. Okay, so training is set for August, and then we have the market simulation and production timelines that we're familiar with. And again, we covered the update to the DAME market simulation at the last RUG, with most notably that will now start later to align with the EDAM and EDAM ISO BAA market simulation. All right, hi Alva, go ahead.
Yeah, just on the configurable parameters, I wanted to sort of confirm my understanding now. So I think it's now more evident what this whole series of workshops that will occur from August on, essentially we'll be reviewing with CAISO what they have seen as far as the parameters are concerned in the market sim environment. Is that pretty much a correct way to look at that?
Yes,
or
that is
at least that's the foundation of whatever gets discussed there. Is we'll be getting information from CAISO as to what they've seen in market simulation reviews.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. So we already have the set of values that we plan to set for market simulation. So that was what was presented already before, I think, in the proposal or the policy artifacts. So that we'll have that initial values for market simulation, or prior to the start of this market simulation, and those will be set. And then our team will do the analysis and present out on the results of that analysis on a monthly basis throughout the market simulation. And then prior to the parallel operations, that's an opportunity for us to tune those parameters. And then we will announce if there are changes to those parameters or if they're the same. Either way, we will communicate what we're going into parallel operations with as in terms of configurable parameters, and then we will continue to present our analysis results on the configurable parameters from the execution of parallel operations with those values.
Great, great. And I would lobby for really separating this effort from what would probably be a very intensive market simulation effort in itself, sort of the daily discussion of how the market is running or bugs or whatever. Hopefully there won't be an overlap so that we don't lose either of those activities by them bleeding into each other.
Yeah, Alva, I really appreciate you saying that because that is our intent as well. They're although they're, we're leveraging the market simulation for the configurable parameter analysis, they are two separate efforts, and we want to make sure that each gets the appropriate attention. And so we'll continue to be able to maintain that focus and not have those two efforts interfere with each other, so that they get the attention they deserve. So
thank you, Chuck.
Thank you. Yep. All right. Any other questions or comments on this? All right. So this is just another reference for what was presented. And as I mentioned, the next configurable parameter working group is the kickoff in August 2025. And then we'll have those monthly sessions starting October, going through March to review or present the ISO's analysis results of those parameters. All right. And then this is just more supporting information of the market simulation and parallel operations and how that relates to the configurable parameters. Okay, any other questions on the configurable parameters or the DAME effort? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Amr to present 2 slides on the BRS 1.4 revisions. Amr, please go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Trang. Good morning, everybody. Yep, so these 2 slides will have a summary of the changes we have for the latest external BRS version 1.4. So summarize it in this format where we have the second column from the left is the summary of the changes versus on the right the reason for the update, whether it's ISO, SME feedback, or market participant feedback, or cleanup reorganization. And then we have the PRQ summary, whether it's updated or revised PRQ, or new PRQ added or deleted or removed PRQ. So the first item here is just the general one about the clarification, typo correction, cleanup on the document. That's number 1. Number 2 was also a change regarding toggling. This was just a setting of a flag for toggling the master file RAC participation flag for the limited energy storage resources. So we'll toggle that to yes, starting from them or starting from having the new RCU RCD product. And I'll go for number 3 item is this one was just something for design-wise for implementation for a penalty price for imbalance reserve. Then it turned out that this was not needed for the engine. We have another mechanism that deal with imbalance reserve shortfall. So we just clean up this one also and remove it. Number 4, this one was regarding again the procurement for the IRU IRD, again for the surplus zone. So before the formulation was set for each surplus zone, so this one was changed because we do it on the BAA level instead of a surplus zone. So we just check the total across all the surplus zones and then compare it with the requirement on the BAA level. So we corrected this formulation. And number 5 is correction. This one is also verbiage correction about the load distribution factor. So we just we have it using the system load forecasting zone normalized with respect to the current topology. And then I go number 6. So number 6 will have several items. So this one was regarding the imbalance reserve and the RC and the reliability capacity product, and also even the frequency, flex ramp product. So regarding taking care of the import and the export direction when we do the calculation for the marginal price, nodal, and resource specific on the SCP type prices. So we did that inclusion of the import-export direction in the engine calculation, and also we publish it in OASIS, the nodal prices, and CMRI, the resource or HB specific, and also we updated also for the data that we sent to FERC. And the number 7 also related, so this one part of the inclusion of the import-export is we also revised the shadow price adjustment for this also, and this one is spread across multiple PRQs. And then we have, at the end, we have also more requirement regarding the publishing to CMRI, OASIS, and the FERC. But going to number 8, so number 8, this was also another cleanup that we removed the use of unmitigated bid. Yep, go ahead, Alva.
Yeah, on this one, so it makes sense that since you're procuring an RCU product now with the RUC, that the binding procurement only be 24 hours ahead. But what is going to be replacing the, what the use that CAISO currently gets out of having a 3-day RUC process? Don't you use that for extremely long starts and some other, sort of look ahead? What is going to replace the days 2 and 3 of the RUC process in terms of CAISO's planning and or market models?
Anyone from operation want to take that one from CAISO side?
We can probably take that offline, Amr and Alba.
Okay.
Is that okay? All right. So I'll capture that, and then we'll follow up with the project team on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and that question was regarding number 8 about removing the unmitigated bids for RUC 48 and 72 hours, because since RUC now is 24 hours ahead, and I don't know, I have some answer, but I don't want to give any misleading, so I'll wait for operation to give the right answer for that one. Number 9 is this one also some clarification. We have some requirement that we use the REN, I think it's reliability energy schedule. So we just corrected that to use RCU and RCD. Again, this was also in the calculation or the formulation of the RCU RCD marginal prices. Number 10 was updated the details of the calculation for monthly RE showing capacity. So we just added how the monthly RE showing capacity calculated between the generic and the flex, and also if the resources associated with multiple LCE, we do the summation for that, and even for the flex, we also sum it across all the categories. So it was a little bit of detail that was missing in the previous version, so we added for that version of the PRS. Next slide, please. Thank you. And number 4, again, it's continuation for the ACP tie. Actually, this one, I'm sorry, this one was regarding the breakdown. So we just to clarify it more here for what we're gonna publish, also what we do calculation, but also what we're gonna publish. So for nodal and the resource specific for the imbalance reserve margin prices, so we're gonna publish the total capacity and congestion. There is no loss component for that. And number 12 is for reliability capacity prices. So we're gonna have also publishing again in OASIS and CMRI. Also, we're gonna publish the total marginal price, also the capacity component, congestion component, and loss component. So you'll see that also clearly identified also there. And going to number 13. So number 13, we just, we don't publish the breakdown MCC by the PEA currently for energy. So we're continuing to do the same thing for the imbalance reserve product and also RC product. We just clarify it more here to make it. The only exception, I think, was the data we sent to FERC. So we also gonna send that breakdown to them, which is number 14. Yeah, that's the end of the summary. And of course, the BRS will have all these red line and detailed there.
Thank you, Amr, for putting this together and going over this with us. So are there any other questions for Amr right now? Okay, so as a reminder too, the comment period is open for this BRS revision through January 24. So please take an opportunity to provide any other feedback through the commenting tool, and then we will take those in, and then we'll report back on any updates from that. Okay. All right, and then Alva, we'll of course get back to you on the question that you raised as well after consulting with our operations team. Okay. All right, thanks, Amar. So we'll go ahead on to EDAM then at this time. Okay, so for EDAM, no changes to the milestones here. We are doing internal testing now of the code and doing other preparation activities for the EDAM implementation to get ready for that market simulation starting later on this year. Okay. Any questions or comments for EDAM? Okay, so actually for the production milestones, you can see that the EDAM onboarding or the implementation and functionality, as well as the activation of PacifiCorp, is on for May 1st. Portland General activates as an EDAM entity on October 1st, and then we also have Bank and LA onboarding as EDAM entities in 2027 as well. All right. Okay, so we'll go on to the EDAM ISO BA participation rules. So you'll see on this slide, we did file November 14. That's pending a FERC order. We did ask for an order by February 20th of this year. So on to the milestones, you can see that the external BRS 1.3 was published on December 23rd. And that is open for comments through January 24th. And at the January 21st release user group, will have the project team come and provide a summary of those changes as well. All right. So on to upcoming milestones. So we do have the market simulation plan and scenarios that we're working through on this. And so the markets and scenarios are now targeted January. We'll work on a specific date to get those out to you for comments and feedback. But we're planning to publish at least the initial version of the scenarios in January. Right, this market sim will align with EDAM, and this production activation will as well. Any questions or comments on this project? All right. So, Alva, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, just I wanted to clarify. So this, a lot of you've provided us with a lot of great information, and I'm sort of getting confused with it a little bit. The EDAM onboarding market sim. So this is a market sim for ISO and ISO market participants that will be occurring in parallel with the EDAM onboarding market sim. Is that, because I usually think of EDAM onboarding market sim as being conducted for the other entity, in this case PacifiCorp. And so I'm trying to understand the merging of those two in this particular case.
Yep, you are absolutely correct, is that onboarding is a separate activity. And so we have our implementation market simulation, which will happen in map stage, and then that's happening concurrent with the onboarding market simulation for PAC. And since, and we're in a unique situation because we're implementing EDAM the same time as we have the first EDAM entity. So that's happening all at the same time. And so the market simulation will be concurrent, but they are separate. Yeah.
So you might want to not refer to that in this relation to this initiative. You might not want to refer to that.
Oh, you're right. I see what you mean right here where it says EDAM onboarding market simulation. You're right. That should be just the EDAM market simulation. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep. All right. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, great. All right. No updates to the BHG Montana and Black Hills WEIM onboarding right now. So we have this activity for its market simulation and parallel ops in that overall timeline visual at the beginning. And so we'll coordinate this activity in map stage and stage with the other EDAM related activities as well. Okay, any questions here? All right, So for future releases, there's no updates. I'm just going to touch on these and let you know what to expect. So subscriber PTO, we have the scope here. We have the set of milestones that are applicable. We are still working on defining the schedule and locking it in so that we can communicate with what release this will be, and then we will continue to keep it in the rug, and then once we have that release kind of set and that schedule baseline, then we will communicate the timing of all of the associated milestones as well. All right. And then for settlement upgrade, I know we plan to provide another update January, so we're committed to quarterly updates, and it's January now, but we don't have anything further to report. We are still working very diligently with the whole project team on coming up with a firm baseline schedule or rebaseline schedule for this project. So I'll continue to provide updates when we can, but this is one, again, just as an overall reminder, is coming after DAME and EDAM. So I don't expect to have a lot of information quickly on this, but we'll keep it on the radar because we know it is a significant effort that has a lot of interest and will impact a lot of folks. So nothing new to report here, but it will stay on the agenda. Any questions or comments for subscriber PTO or settlement upgrade? All right. So our next release user group is Tuesday, January 21st. That is already on the calendar, so please tune into that if you're interested, and we do appreciate your participation. And then for today's meeting, the recording will be published by tomorrow, and the presentation will be made available as well. So that is the end of today's call. Any final questions or comments? All right. Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your day. We look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you.